You know that email you've been putting off? It's not complicated. It's not urgent. It would probably take you 2 minutes to write. And yet every time you think about doing it, you just don't. You open the tab, stare at it, and then suddenly find yourself doing something else entirely. This isn't about laziness. It's not about discipline or poor time management. It's about something much quieter and much harder to notice, something that happens beneath the surface of your awareness. In the small moments between deciding to do something and actually doing it, we avoid easy tasks all the time. Not the hard ones. Not the ones that require focus or effort. The easy ones. The ones we could finish in less time than it takes to make coffee. The ones that sit on our to-do lists for days, sometimes weeks, while we tackle far more complex things around them. And the strangest part is that avoiding them often feels worse than just doing them. You know this. You've experienced it. You've done the task before, felt the relief, and thought to yourself, why didn't I just do that earlier? And then a week later, you're avoiding the exact same kind of task again, caught in the same cycle. The usual explanation is that you're procrastinating, that you lack motivation, that you need to just push through it or develop better self-discipline. But that explanation doesn't actually fit what's happening, because if it were really about motivation, you'd avoid the hard tasks first. But that's not what happens. Sometimes you'll tackle something difficult and challenging, and then immediately avoid something simple right after. So what's actually going on? Why does your brain treat easy tasks like they're harder than they actually are? Research into task avoidance suggests that we don't avoid tasks based on how hard they are. We avoid them based on how they make us feel. And easy tasks, it turns out, come with a very specific emotional cost that isn't immediately obvious. When a task is easy, your brain knows it. It knows the task is small. It knows it won't take long. It knows you have the skills and ability to complete it. And because of that, it also knows there's no excuse not to do it. That awareness creates a quiet kind of pressure that builds every time you see the task and don't do it. It's not the task itself that feels heavy. It's the fact that there's no reason to delay it. And that makes it feel like a judgment on you every time you don't do it. Every time you scroll past it, postpone it, or pretend you didn't see it. Let's say you need to reply to a message. It's sitting there in your inbox. You know what to say. You know it'll take 30 seconds, but every time you see it, you also see the fact that you haven't done it yet. And the longer it sits there, the more it starts to feel like evidence of something larger. Your brain begins to connect that small undone task with a larger feeling, the feeling that you're behind, that you're not keeping up, that even the simple things are piling up. And once that connection forms, the task stops being just a task. It becomes a reminder of everything else you're not doing. It becomes a symbol of your perceived inadequacy. This is why easy tasks often feel harder than difficult ones. A difficult task comes with built-in permission to struggle. No one expects you to finish a complex project in 5 minutes. There's social understanding around difficulty. But an easy task offers no protection. If you don't do it, it's just because you didn't. There's no excuse, no justification, just the quiet fact of your avoidance. So instead of doing it, you avoid looking at it. You let it fade into the background. You tell yourself you'll get to it later, when you have more energy, or when you're in the right mindset. But that moment never really comes, because the task itself was never the problem. The feeling around it was. Another factor is what researchers call decision fatigue. Even small tasks require decisions. What tone should you use in that email? Should you apologize for the delay? Should you keep it short or add context? Should you be casual or professional? These aren't hard questions, but they still take mental energy. And when you're already managing a dozen other small decisions throughout the day, your brain starts to resist adding more. It doesn't matter that the task is easy. What matters is that it requires you to make a choice, to engage your executive function, to activate the part of your brain that's already tired from a day of constant micro-decisions. There's also the issue of emotional labor. Some easy tasks feel emotionally costly even when they're not difficult. Sending a polite decline, following up on something awkward, asking for something you need, responding to someone you've been meaning to get back to. These tasks might take 2 minutes, but they require you to manage how you come across, how the other person might react, and how you'll feel afterward. Your brain registers that cost and treats the task differently. It's no longer just about doing the thing. It's about preparing yourself to do the thing. And that preparation can feel endless. You need to be in the right emotional state. You need to have the right energy. You need to feel ready to handle whatever response might come back. This is why you might avoid texting someone back even though you want to talk to them. It's why you delay scheduling an appointment even though you know you need it. The task is simple, but the emotional setup isn't. The mental preparation required feels disproportionate to the actual action. And here's the uncomfortable part. The longer you avoid the task, the worse it gets. Not because the task changes, but because your relationship to it does. What started as a quick reply becomes something you've been putting off for days. Now it requires an apology. Now it feels awkward. Now it carries guilt. Now the simple task has context attached to it. History, emotional weight. You didn't make the task harder. You made the feeling around it harder. And your brain, trying to protect you from that feeling, keeps pushing it away. It creates a cycle where avoidance breeds more avoidance, where the emotional cost increases the longer you wait. This doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you need to fix yourself, or develop better habits, or become a different person. It just means your brain is doing what it's designed to do. It's avoiding discomfort, and sometimes the discomfort isn't in the task itself, it's in what the task represents, in what it means about you, your productivity, your ability to keep up with the basic demands of daily life. The tricky part is that this process is almost invisible. You don't sit down and think, I'm avoiding this because it makes me feel behind. You just feel a vague resistance, a sense that you'll do it later, a quiet pull toward anything else, toward checking your phone, getting a snack, organizing something that doesn't need organizing. And because the task is easy, you assume the resistance must be your fault. But it's not. It's not a character flaw. It's not weakness. It's just your brain responding to something it perceives as a threat. Not a threat to your safety, but a threat to your sense of control, competence, or calm. Understanding this doesn't make the tasks go away. It doesn't magically solve the problem or make avoidance disappear, but it does change how you see them. It removes the layer of self-blame that usually accompanies this pattern. It helps you recognize that the resistance isn't about the task at all. It's about everything surrounding it. You're not avoiding the email because you're lazy. You're not putting off the phone call because you lack discipline. You're avoiding it because it carries weight your brain doesn't want to hold right now. And sometimes, just knowing that is enough to soften the feeling, not to fix it, not to make it go away. Just to see it clearly for what it is. That's all this is. A quiet pattern your mind has learned. A protective mechanism that sometimes misfires. Not a flaw. Not a failure. Just a response. Just your brain trying to keep you safe from feelings you're not ready to face.